But we are going to begin with a better look at how voters are reacting to last week's debate between President Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Our latest CBS News polling shows Trump holds a lead both nationally and in battleground states. When voters were asked about how age will factor into their vote, 69% said that Biden's age is playing a role. Now, our Nancy Cordes is tracking the polls from the White House for us. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. And the White House and the Biden campaign are digesting those new polls this morning, even as the president provides a new explanation for what happened last Thursday. He now says it was jet lag. The White House has said he had a cold and just had an off night. And Democrats themselves, well, they're getting more vocal about their concerns that it might be something more.
At a fundraiser in Virginia last night, President Biden offered a new explanation for his poor debate performance. I decided to travel around the world a couple of times shortly before the debate, he said. I didn't listen to my staff, and then I almost fell asleep on stage. Biden did travel back and forth to France, Italy, and California the first half of June. But he returned to D.C. 11 days before the debate.
Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
And the White House press secretary had a different explanation for Thursday's debacle.
The president had a cold. He had a cold and a bad night.
She insisted Biden is not suffering from something more serious.
He can do the job. He can.
But even as she spoke, a New York Times report was taking Washington by storm, citing White House and foreign officials who said Biden has, quote, increasingly appeared confused or listless, and even sometimes seems to freeze up. On Tuesday, Texas Congressman Lloyd Doggett became the first Democratic lawmaker to call on Biden to step aside.
The president cannot make the kind of effort that we need in these closing days to prevent Trump and his gang from taking over.
And now other Democrats are opening up about their concerns.
Like a lot of people, I was pretty horrified.
We have to be honest with ourselves that it wasn't just a horrible night.
You can see it. The dam is breaking, a Biden donor told CBS News. There are nonstop phone, email, and text conversations going on. As donors toss around names of possible replacements, veteran Congressman Jim Clyburn said the vice president should be the only alternative if Biden steps aside.
This party should not in any way do anything to work around Ms. Harris. We should do everything we can to bolster her, whether it's in second place or at the top of the ticket.
In a brief interview with CBS News, Vice President Harris said this.
Look, Joe Biden is our nominee. We beat Trump once, and we're going to beat him again, period.
President Biden himself is now getting involved in the damage control. He has arranged a meeting with Democratic governors later today. Some of them will be here in person. Others will be joining virtually. And it'll be really interesting, Anne-Marie, to get a sense of what they're telling him, what they're advising him, because he really needs them on his side. And keep in mind, some of them have presidential aspirations of their own.
Really good point. So then do we know what the goal or the purpose of this meeting with governors is? Is it for them to express themselves or for him to convince them that he's got what it takes?
I think it's both. Definitely, he wants to be commanding in that meeting. He wants to provide them potentially with a more complete explanation than we've received publicly about what happened, what he plans to do about it, both health-wise and also how he plans to right the ship on the campaign going forward. We obviously know that they're adding more campaign events. The president is planning to do a network interview on Friday. But it's also to take their temperature, to get a sense of where they are at. Are these governors, as they were this weekend, saying, look, he's the nominee, we support him? Or are more of them shifting to the new line that we've been hearing over the past 24 hours from several of these governors themselves who say, as long as he's the nominee, I support him. Yes, he needs to think long and hard about what he wants to do. But at the end of the day, I appreciate him and this party will move forward. That's a very different tenor that we are starting to hear. And so, the goal of this meeting is for him to get a more accurate sense of where they are all at now.
There's been a lot of reporting about how stubborn the president can be. But I'm curious about the weight or the influence of donors. It takes an awful lot of money to run a campaign. I would think if the president was to step aside, whoever would replace him would also need an awful lot of money. I don't think you can just throw that money over to the next person. So I would think donors and what they're saying is something that the Democratic officials within the party are considering or taking quite seriously. I don't know.
Sure, and there is a joke that if you ask 10 donors something, you'll get 10 different answers. I mean, these are all individuals with their own beliefs and agendas. But certainly, I think it's really the confluence of not just where the donors are, but where elected Democratic officials are, where voters are looking at new polling. That is a big deal. New polls like the CBS News poll that show that President Biden has lost some ground since last month. It's still within the margin of error, though. Could it bounce back? These are all things that the Biden campaign is weighing. To be honest, I think what is probably most concerning to them right now is what we're starting to hear from elected Democrats, from Democratic lawmakers. Yes, there have only been a couple who have come straight out and said, we think he should step aside. But the fact that more and more Democratic lawmakers are comfortable going public with their concerns about his health, his ability to proceed with this campaign, his ability to serve 4 more years, that is what has to be most troubling to the White House at this point.
All right, Nancy, thank you very much.